All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the absolutely incredible story of the New Orleans Saints.
So, how did one of football's longest-suffering teams become this amazing symbol of hope for an entire city? Well, to get that answer, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. A start that was, both hopeful and maybe just a little bit prophetic.
You see, the team's identity it's completely woven into the fabric of New Orleans. It all starts with that iconic logo, the fleur-de-lis. I mean, that's a direct link to the city's French royal history, right? It grounds the team in a culture that's totally unique in the entire country.
And get this, the team was founded on November 1st, 1966. What day is that? It's All Saints' Day, so of course they got a blessing and a pretty big dose of reality from the city's archbishop. He knew it was going to be tough for an expansion team, and wow, his words turned out to be a massive understatement.
Even their colors, black and gold, that was a direct shout-out to the region's huge oil industry, black gold. So every single piece of their identity, from the name to the logo to the colors, it was all a mirror reflecting New Orleans itself.
Okay, so let's get into the hard part. Despite that really hopeful beginning, the Saints' early years they were defined by struggle. And honestly, saying it was a struggle is putting it very mildly.
20. That's the number. The team went through 20 straight seasons without a single winning record. Can you even imagine that? We're talking 2 full decades of your team going home with more losses than wins every single year.
This timeline really shows you just how long and tough that road was for the team and for the fans. I mean, from their very first game in '67, it took them 20 years just to have a winning season. And it took a staggering 34 years to win a single playoff game. 34!
Yeah, the losing got so bad that by 1980, fans started showing up to games wearing paper bags over their heads. And that's how the team got a new, pretty unfortunate nickname. They weren't the Saints anymore, they were the Aints.
Now, through all those tough years, you had bright spots, for sure. Guys like quarterback Archie Manning. He gave the fans who had been suffering for so long something to actually cheer for. But real, sustained success, it was just always out of reach. He was this phenomenal talent on a team that just could not seem to find its footing. But then, something happened. It was the team's and truly the entire city's absolute lowest point that would, believe it or not, set the stage for its greatest comeback ever.
So 2005, Hurricane Katrina just devastated New Orleans. The Superdome was damaged, and the Saints were forced to play their entire home season somewhere else. They were basically homeless, a nomadic existence that was a perfect mirror of what so many residents of New Orleans were going through. And honestly, there were very real questions about whether the team would ever even come back.
But out of this total disaster, new hope started to emerge. The team hired a new head coach, Sean Payton, and they signed this quarterback, Drew Brees. Now, Brees was a guy other teams wouldn't even touch because of a major injury, but he made the conscious choice to come to a city that was literally in ruins.
And that first game back in the Superdome, man, it wasn't just a game. It was this incredibly powerful, emotional symbol of the city's will to survive. The pregame show with U2 and Green Day, the sellout crowd, and then the game starts, and Steve Gleason blocks a punt. The roar of that crowd at that moment, that was about so much more than football. It was a collective release. It was a declaration to the world that New Orleans was back.
So all of that new energy, it started building towards something that nobody in New Orleans had ever seen before. The team wasn't just a symbol anymore. They were actually becoming winners.
The 2009 season was just a fairy tale. It was a storybook run where the team just dominated the league. They kicked things off with a franchise-best 13 straight wins. They fought through a nail-biter of an NFC championship game. And then they made it to the Super Bowl for the very first time.
And they didn't just make it. They capped the whole thing off by winning it all, their first and only Super Bowl. And of course, Drew Brees led the way and was named the game's MVP. Just think about that. The Aints were finally champions.
But this win, it was about so much more than football, right? For the people of New Orleans, it symbolized their city rising from the ashes. The team's triumph was the city's triumph, period.
And that Super Bowl win, it wasn't the end of the story, not at all. It kicked off a whole new era of success that completely redefined the franchise. The paper bags, gone for good. They were replaced by division titles, consistent playoff runs, and a brand new reputation as one of the league's elite teams.
So it really makes you think, what does it mean for a city when its sports team becomes a symbol for its own survival and triumph? Ultimately, the story of the Saints isn't really just about football. It shows us how a team can become the absolute heartbeat of a city, a symbol of identity, pride, and just this unwavering hope. It's an incredible reminder that sometimes the biggest victories happen far, far away from the field.